Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dig into a book that really honestly changed personal finance forever. It all started by asking one simple question. What do the rich teach their kids about money that the poor and middle class don't? So let's break down the core lessons from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. All right, let's just jump right in with a powerful idea that pretty much flips conventional wisdom on its head. Real world success, it's not about being the smartest person in the room. Nope, it's about being the boldest. It's all about having the guts to actually act, to risk failure, and to learn by doing, not just by sitting around studying. So the whole philosophy of this book is built on this really cool contrast between two father figures. You've got Poor Dad, that was the author's actual father, super educated but always struggling with money. And then you have Rich Dad, his friend's dad, a total entrepreneur. Each one taught him a completely different lesson about money, about work, and really about life itself. And this is where you see the huge conflict in their advice, right? The Poor Dad way of thinking, it basically trains you to be a great employee, to safely climb a corporate ladder that someone else owns. But the Rich Dad philosophy, that's all about becoming an owner yourself. It's about understanding how the system of money really works so you can go out and build your own ladder. So where do we even begin with all this? Well, it's not with actions, surprisingly. It's with your mindset. This is the absolute first foundation. You have to reprogram how you think about money, about risk, about opportunity. The idea is, before your bank account can change, your brain has to change first. Think about it like learning to ride a bike. You totally expect to fall, right? It's part of the process. Well, the wealthy apparently view financial failure in pretty much the same way. It's not some painful, terrible end. It's just a valuable lesson. Every single mistake makes you smarter for the next try. And that resilience, that's what separates the people who win from those who are just too scared to even get started. This little shift in language is such a powerful mental tool. When you say, I can't afford it, that's a statement that just shuts your brain down, end of story. But if you ask, how can I afford it? Well, that opens your mind right up. It forces you to start looking for solutions, to create opportunities, and to actually get into active problem-solving mode. Okay, so once you've got the right mindset, it's time to learn the rules of the game. We're talking about the fundamental principles of how money really works. This is the kind of financial education that, let's be honest, most of us never got in school, but it's absolutely essential if you want to build wealth. Now, this is the absolute core of what financial intelligence is all about. We've all heard those stories, right? Lottery winners, famous athletes, they earn millions and then they end up totally broke. So why does that happen? It's because they're great at making money, but they're just terrible at keeping it. See, true wealth isn't measured by the size of your paycheck. It's measured by the strength of your financial foundation. So, to really get a handle on these rules, we gotta know the key players. And first up is the asset. The definition is just beautifully simple. An asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. That's it. It's like a little money-making machine that you own and it works for you, even when you're sleeping. And then on the flip side of that coin, you've got a liability. And just as simply, this is anything that takes money out of your pocket. Think of it as a financial drain. That fancy car, the brand new phone, anything that costs you money month after month, making you poorer, not richer. So here's how that actually plays out in real life. The wealthy, they use their money to buy stuff from that left column, assets. We're talking businesses, income-generating real estate, stocks, things that will make them even more money. Meanwhile, the poor and middle class often spend their cash on liabilities from the right column, things that look really good but just constantly drain their bank accounts. Okay, listen up. If you only take one single habit away from this whole explainer, please make it this one. This is the golden rule for building wealth. It's the one habit that makes sure you prioritize your own financial future above everything, and I mean everyone else. So how does this actually work in practice? It's really simple. The second you get paid, before you pay your rent, before you pay your bills, before you pay anyone else, you immediately move a chunk of that money into your asset column. You literally treat your future self as the most important bill you have to pay. And that one little shift forces you to live on what's left, and it pretty much guarantees your wealth is always growing. All right, so we've got the mindset down and we've got the rules. Now it's time for the final piece of the puzzle, building your wealth engine. This is where we take everything we've talked about, put it into practice, and really start making our money work for us.
Now, this doesn't mean you have to go out and quit your job tomorrow, not at all. What it means is that while you might work a 9 to 5, your real focus should be on building your own business on the side. That's your personal asset column. So your job pays the bills while you build your fortune.
You know, the author learned this one the hard way. He realized that being a best-selling author was way more about the selling part than the best part. Whether you're trying to sell a product, an idea, or even just yourself in a job interview, the ability to communicate, persuade, and market, that is the single most critical skill for financial success. Look, to truly scale your wealth, you have to realize you just can't do it alone. Your greatest asset isn't a stock or a building, it's people. The strategy here is to hire experts who are smarter than you, pay them well, and treat them like they're your most valuable investment. Because a brilliant, motivated team, they're going to make you far more money than you ever could on your own. So, what's the ultimate takeaway here? How do all these different pieces, the mindset, the rules, the strategy, how do they all fit together to create a real blueprint for your financial life? Well, it really all comes down to this simple blueprint. It's a journey, right? It starts inside your own mind with conquering that fear. Then it translates into the disciplined habit of buying assets and always paying yourself first. And finally, it grows into building a business engine that works for you. And that is the really provocative thought I want to leave you with today. Because according to this philosophy, the answer to that question, it doesn't just predict your wealth, it actually determines your entire financial future.